Welcome back, Bold Moves besties, to another episode of She Built Success. If you are already tuned in, whether it's through YouTube or your podcast platform of choice, we are here today with Lola Banjo, creative director and founder of luxury travel brand Silver & Riley.
Hi, everyone. Claudia, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
Super excited to have this conversation.
Listen, it's been a long time coming.
It has.
So for those, well, obviously y'all don't know, so I'm going to just reel y'all in. So Lola and I actually met through Silver & Riley itself. I saw the brand. I am a purse and shoes girl. Like y'all should know this by now. I saw Silver & Riley come up on my IG feed and I was like, hold up. Let's rewind. This is before I knew Lola, is the creative director, the founder, any of that. And I was like, this is cute. And my first go-to piece was the convertible executive bag. That was my very first piece. And since then, I have a nice little collection of Silver & Riley. So
Yes.
That is how I initially entered the realm of Lola and Silver & Riley. So Lola,
Yes.
I know this has been a long time coming,
I
but
know.
beyond excited that we're able to just sit down and have this conversation.
I'm super excited. And you have been incredibly supportive beyond my wildest imagination. So we first connected, it's been like 3 years,
Yeah.
I want to say.
Almost.
And it's almost kind of like a sisterhood that's bloomed from this.
Yes.
And it's amazing. It makes me feel really good to know that not only do people like the products, but they also see me as a person, as a founder, and just like the support, the level of support, the level of encouragement, the level of just friendship that we've grown from this has been amazing. And I'm truly, truly grateful. Like, you are a girl's girl. I always say you're a woman's woman.
Yeah.
I always say that, like, just the way you champion, not just me, but other women around you is so encouraging. And like, it's such a positive thing that we should all emulate. And so I'm inspired by that. I'm inspired by you. And also just this thing you put together. I'm super excited to get into it.
Thank you. So I'm a field it this way. So what we like to ask our guests is, what is your definition of success? What does that look like? And however you define it is up to you. It's very fluid, but the whole premise of us coming together is really to just talk about what that means and bringing all of you to the table. So how do you define success?
It's such a big question and such an important one because it's so individual and so different for everyone. My definition of success has evolved so much over the course of my life. When I was younger, I would have these lists of all these things I want to accomplish, like, 25 things to do before 25, 50 things to do before whatever age. And, I would check box each thing as I accomplish it. And to me, that was success. Like my foundation was very humble. So I was born in Brooklyn and I grew up in, what you would consider the hood, right?
Yeah.
And I was born to amazing Nigerian parents. And so I also had that balance of, that cultural influence from Nigeria, but also just, finding my way through life. I lived in Brooklyn growing up. I lived in Lagos. I lived in London. But I really got to see a lot of things in my life. And what I mean by that is I got to see a balance of people that have nothing, but also being around people that have a lot. Yeah. And I think that really inspired me from that very, very young age, so the most prominent story I can remember was when I was 8 years old. We were living in Lagos. I used to walk about a mile, about 2 kilometers to school. Along my walk to school, there were people that were begging, right, for food to eat, money. Yeah. And that was a very, very common sight that I encountered every day living in Lagos. And, it just always used to beg me to ask the question, like, why do some people have to suffer so much? Like, why is there so much disparity? We didn't have a lot, but I knew that when I got home, I will have food on the table. Yeah. My mom will always have clothes on our back. We had a bed to sleep in. Yeah. And at that very young age, I just used to question life and what the meaning of life is and what purpose was. And, I used to drive my mom crazy because I'll ask her those questions and she's like, life is not fair, and I just used to carry that burden. I'm like, well, I want to do something about it. I want to make a difference, but I also want to make sure that I'm successful. So not only because I want to make sure I'm not in that situation, but I want to help others, and see what I can do to impact other people in my journey. And so, I'm kind of like answering the question around purpose a little bit, but, so from that young age, I was just determined to be successful and to, because I was just like, I have more opportunity than most people.
Right.
I don't have any physical disabilities, because a lot of people that I encountered would have like polio and a lot of physical disabilities. I was born in America where, for the most part, I could actually, reach opportunity, because it was not about my intelligence or my capabilities. It was sometimes about where you were born.
Exactly.
And, that had nothing to do with me. I had all these advantages that had nothing to do with my actual work ethic or anything like that.
Right.
So I just felt like I needed to maximize on all those advantages that I have. So I just said I have to be successful, because what excuse do I have not to be? Yeah. There's so many people that have so much less than I do. And so I defined success at that time by wealth, like, monetary success. And so I was just like laser focused on that, and also just like my family circumstances. There's a lot of things that happened as well in my teenage years, me coming back here and supporting my family back home and all that stuff. And so for me, the only thing I could think of was success, because, we needed the money. And I knew that money was the only currency that was, acceptable back there as well, back home. Everything in my late teen years and my, for the most part, my 20s was defined by that monetary level of success, right? Wanted to go to, great schools, get all these degrees. I have 4 degrees.
Listen, all the receipts. She said, look.
I have 4 degrees. Yes. And, I just always pushed myself, because I was like, the only thing I really, really have is my ambition. I can't change a lot of things, but I can work really hard. I can study really hard. And, I don't consider myself naturally intelligent. I just work really hard, so I'm like, okay, I'm going to always just push myself to get to that level of, success. What is the hardest course that I can take? I'm going to take that. I was engineering and math major, and it kicked my butt, but I was just like, listen, when I graduate, I'm gonna get a good job and be able to support my family and be able to make change in the world. That's all I kept on thinking about. Right.
Yes.
And, I think I thought like that for a very long time. But as I reached my 30s, I think my definition of success really started to evolve a lot. And, I started to think about monetary success was still important, because, in my opinion, there's a lot of things that you can get done from the, nonprofit, maybe governmental angles. But, for the most part, I felt like monetary success was still important to be able to make big change. Like whether you want to donate to cancer awareness or you want to donate to this, like, you see a lot of those impacts being made by people that have a great amount of wealth. So that was always still a priority.
Yes.
But then I started to really check in on myself, like what kind of legacy do I want to make sure I'm leaving as well? And what is my purpose in life? And, so at this stage I was working like crazy in consulting, and working like 80 hours a week. And so I really had no time left for anything else. So I was like, is this success? Like just working? I mean, I have a lot of money, but I'm like always working. I really don't have a lot of like, social life. And like, sometimes I feel awful because I feel like I'm losing connection with the people that matter the most to me, because I really don't have time. Everybody like when people say Lola, oh, Lola's always busy, and I'm like, maybe some people consider that to be a good thing, but it really started to get to me. And I was just like, I don't want to be this person that's always busy where, my cousins can't get to me, my nephews, my niece, like they can't get to me because I'm always busy. I'm always on go. So I just really started to think about what is the balance that I want my life to look like, right? What do I want my life to represent? And I remember calling a colleague about, I want to say almost a decade ago now, actually maybe 7 years ago, introduced me to this Japanese principle called Ikigai. And I want to say it's been life-changing in a way. It was a framework that helped me put my thoughts into context, right? Before that, I had all these scattered thoughts about, what I want my life to look like and what purpose is. And that framework, I'm a consultant, so I love frameworks. I know. We love us some frameworks, okay? So I was just like, okay, I love this framework that can help me put everything into context. So, the 4 quadrants of Ikigai talks about, at the center of purpose, you have 4 things that defines it. You have what you get paid for, right? So you find what you get paid for, what you enjoy doing, your skills and abilities,
Right.
and what the world needs.
Right.
And if you can find something at the center of those 4 quadrants, you find purpose. You found purpose.
Mhm.
And it's not like you're going to find all those things in one thing. Like
Right.
it doesn't have to all come from your work or from your family life. It's
Mhm.
just finding a balance in your life that represents each of those 4 quadrants.
Right.
And it just started making me think about success in life in a different way,
Mhm.
in a different light. And I was just like, am I checking the box on these? Not checking the box, but like, am I fulfilling,
Right.
you know, am I
Those
doing
areas.
those things?
Mhm.
Right. Like,
Mhm.
and I found that I actually was doing some of those things, but I just needed to kind of like eliminate some of the things that maybe was not a part of my purpose and my journey.
Right. Right.
I think over the course of just doing too much and wanting to be as successful as possible, I had
Mhm.
taken on so much. You know,
Yeah.
I was mentoring this person and doing that. Mentoring is good, but I
Yeah.
was doing so much
All
of
of
it.
it.
I was
Yeah.
doing all of it. I was
Yeah.
on this board. I was serving in this community thing. I was doing that. I was just like, okay, you know what? Let me find the thing that really, really moves me
Mhm.
and dedicate my attention and my true intentions to it.
Yeah.
And you know, and I felt like, okay, once I started doing that, I literally built I have a spreadsheet for everything.
Spreadsheets.
Girl,
Me too.
let me tell you, I have a
Yeah.
spreadsheet for everything. I'm a spreadsheet what I'm gonna eat for dinner. Like that's my life.
Yes.
I spreadsheet everything.
Mhm.
And so, of course, I had my ikigai,
Mhm.
4 quadrants on
Yes.
spreadsheets,
Yes.
and just started to think about what are the things that, you know, really move me. Really, I want to represent my legacy.
Mhm.
And I think also as we get older, you know, the word legacy is so important because, like, you know, you start to think about it a lot more.
Yep.
Like, I would say personally, I haven't really had a life of living completely for self, even though I don't have kids yet. I've
Mhm,
kind of just always, you know, thought about my family and
Others.
my community, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I think generally though, you know, when we're younger, we are living for self, right?
Right.
So, but as we start to get older, we start to think about, okay, what legacy do I want to leave behind?
Right.
Like if I have kids and if I want to, you know, impact, you know, my community positively, how
Mhm.
do I want people to talk about me? What do I want to live on
Right.
that I have either influenced or created after I'm no longer here?
Right.
And so I thought about my mom a lot and
Mhm.
how people still, my mom passed away when I was a teenager. But till today,
Mhm.
people still tell me, your mom paid for my school fees. And that's
Wow.
why I was able to go get this
Wow.
education.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, wow, this woman's legacy
Still going.
Still go. I mean,
Yes,
of course, I'm a
yes,
representative of
yes,
her
yes.
legacy as well.
Yes.
And so I'm like, that was my first lesson on legacy. I'm going on and on, but
No,
you know, stick with me
please.
here. I'm
Yes,
gonna
no,
land. I'm
I'm
gonna land
with
in a
you.
second.
I'm here and
land in a
listen. I'm
second.
all for it. Go ahead.
So, you know, it was just that thought process that, you know, and of course I thought about great people in our community,
Mhm.
you know, people that have paved the way for me and us, you know, to
Mhm.
be here, great women, like great inspirational leaders, you
Right.
name it. Like, you know, they've left a legacy that would never die.
Right.
You know,
Right.
they could have passed on 200 centuries ago,
Right.
but they've created things that lives on.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
and they have, you know, whether they've changed voting laws, they have made it possible for women to be able to get equality. You know, they've made so many other things, so many things possible.
Right,
You know, and
right.
that's their legacy. So I'm
Right.
like, Lola Banjo, what's your legacy? Being a
Mhm.
consultant and making a
Right.
certain amount of money, that's not your legacy, girl.
Mm,
Like,
mm.
so you need to really have a come to Jesus moment with yourself,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, and so success for me really started to evolve from there. And my definition of success started to evolve from there. And I decided that doing something that I love and passionate about, of course, that still earns me, you know, a living
Right.
and ability to live comfortably financially, but it's something I enjoy, and also I'm able to impact the world, like impact others.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have a grandiose sense of self where I think I'm making this big difference in the world, but I
Mm.
think we can all do our part in
Yeah.
a small way.
Yeah.
You know, whether you're impacting one person or two people, like, you know, those people can go on and create things that may impact others, and
Right.
so your impact multiplies from
Right.
there. So so I'm like, as long as I'm doing those things, then I feel like I'm living a purposeful, successful life.
Yeah.
And so I would say for the last like decade or so, I've been focused on really like that definition of success for
Yeah.
myself and building this legacy and we'll talk about how Silver and Rightly fits into that. But creating a legacy for myself that's beyond me,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm really proud of the journey I'm making, but it's a continuous journey. It
Yeah.
never ends. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, success is always going to be dynamic. It's never static. So, you know, your definition of success in your teenage years is different from what it's going to be, you know, when you're in your late 30s,
Yes,
you know. So
yes.
I'm okay with that. I'm
Yeah.
okay with the evolution,
The shifts.
you know, and the shifts and everything. So
Yeah.
that's a long-winded
No,
answer to your
listen.
question.
No, but it's very relevant. I mean, just your background, what you're bringing, it's a testament to not only the evolution of you, but just how you perceive the world and
Yeah.
what you want to leave, you know, as your legacy in the world.
Right.
I think sometimes we get so caught up in go
Yeah.
that we don't pause to even see what things look like to others.
Yeah.
Like maybe not so self-absorbed, but like family-wise. I know for me, sometimes I have to be very cognizant of the fact that, okay, it's time for the kids. We're doing this. We're not on, you know, consulting mode. We're not on nonprofit mode. We're not on, no, we're right here with the family. I think sometimes when we are always going, we don't take the time, even for self, to self-reflect and say, hey, is this the path that I'm supposed to be going? So the fact that you just layered all of these pieces in here just now, just to come to this is what my definition of success is right now, I think is very relevant. It shows your journey from when you were very small and what you were observing in the world to how it's now transcended to where you are now. I know we were talking a little bit before we started rolling, just to understand Silver and Rightly and all your notoriety. I mean, glamour, you name the publication, I promise you Silver and Rightly is in there. I mean, at one point I was keeping a list because I was like, I want to make sure I get all the receipts, all of them. And then I was like, okay, this list is like this. And I just was, I mean, Oprah, O Magazine, what else? Glamour, Black Enterprise, you name it. Forbes, Essence. Yes. I mean,
Fast Company.
Oh my gosh. And every time I remember I was DMing, I was like, girl, yes, yeah. And I just get so, it's such, there are other brands out there, right? But even before I knew you, I knew Silver and Rightly was a brand that just, there was more to it than just the handbags, more to it than just, you know, hell, even y'all's customer service is bomb. Let me tell y'all something. I did, yes, because I'm gonna plug this for sure. I remember getting my first piece. So my first piece was this convertible executive, and the crocodile one. And I remember getting it in the box. And so I can say it's your note, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course.
So Lola writes, hand writes a note. It is so beautiful. And then when you open the box, it's like, it's wrapped very nicely. And you open the box, there's like a nice fragrance that comes with it. And I don't know. It's an experience. It's genuinely an experience. And when I was like, yeah, I made the right choice. Like, like I talk about Silver and Rightly like all the time.
You about to make me cry because when I launched, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but when I launched this brand, this is what I dreamed of. Like for people to actually see the effort and the energy that I put in. Yeah. And it means so much when people pause and let me know, because sometimes you don't even know if you're doing a good job. You're just on go mode, right? You're just like, okay, we need to serve, right? Yeah. And so when I get the feedback from you, it just, I mean, honestly, it never gets old. And so please don't stop telling me. I'm finna cry, but like, please don't stop telling me, because you know, there's a lot of really, really hard moments in this journey. We can get into those as well, because I don't like to, you know, act like everything is all sugars and berries, because it's not. This journey is difficult. Yeah. But you know, being able to get that positive feedback to let you know that you're on the right track. And then people that are like really supportive, like really rocking with you, like you got like 10 bags, like, and I'm just like, okay, I mean, I founded my brand like 4 years ago, and I'm just like, I'm bootstrapped still. I haven't taken any outside investment. So this is still I mean, it's my brother and I are partners on the journey now. And, you know, we have a very small team. It's just 4 of us. And then we have like some part-time help as well. So it's still, you know, a growing enterprise. Yeah. Right. I never call myself a small business, by the way.
Love it.
I'm a growing enterprise because I have $1 billion on the mind.
Yes,
anyway.
yes.
And, you know, the tongue is powerful.
Absolutely.
So we keep on calling ourselves something, and you know, that's not where you want to be. True. Like that's where you're gonna stay.
That's very true.
So
yes.
No, this is still a growing enterprise, and just being able to have that kind of reinforcement, that kind of support, and just that. I don't want to say validation, but you do validate what we do. Yeah. You know, being able to notice those small things, like, because I put my heart into a lot of those things. Yeah. I have written thousands of notes. I mean, we have thousands and thousands of orders, and I still sit down. And my team is always asking me, like, Lola, when are you going to stop this? Because, like, some days, like, my hands are shaking because I'm writing notes. But I'm like, every single person that's going to get this product, I want them to feel me and feel the fact that this is coming from a genuine person and a genuine place. Like, this isn't just some bag that you're buying. Like, this is my heart and soul that I put into this. This is my efforts. This is, you know, my money, but also just my time, my energy, my mother's spirit, my everything, you know, into this brand. Like, so when I communicate through handwritten notes, it's because you stopped to spend your hard-earned money with me, right? Like, I don't take that for granted. I know money is not easy to earn, you know, and I know we have options in this life. Sorry, I'm like crying. It's not easy to earn, you know? And so when we have options like that, and you choose me, you choose my brand, the purses are beautiful and everything, but you actually stopped and researched my story as well. Like, that means the world to me.
I do have a number of Silver and Riley pieces. Quite frankly, I stopped counting. And I've gifted them as well. And every single piece, you write a note. Every single, you write the note to the point where I actually have them. They're all in my, they're all collected and together in my closet in this little shelf thing. But the fact that you take the time to write this, right? It's your handwriting, and every time the message is different, but the message is meaningful. And I appreciate that as a brand, just for yourself, just coming and just being like, yes, I'm gonna write Claudia, and the thousands of customers that you have. A note is it sets you apart.
I'm sorry to anyone that thinks that if they got a note that they're super special. Everyone is super special, and it's just, again, like, just the fact that you took the time, not to just purchase a purse, but purchase from our brand. Like, I want to connect with you as a person, especially our repeat customers. Now, of course, I do write a note for first time. I write a note for everybody, like, no matter where I am in the world. Like, you know, sometimes my team is like, oh my gosh, like, we can't ship out because we're waiting on your handwritten notes. Like, I've actually mailed out my notes overnight from Japan. When I was in Japan, I was just like, orders got to go out. So I handwrote the notes and overnighted them. Because I was like, we have a 2 to 3 day kind of fulfillment window.
Y'all, it's quick.
Right. So sometimes I'm actually not physically in the office to write the notes. Like, but I'm like, I'm looking at every night, I look at all the orders that come in, and especially for our repeat customers. Now, my brother has written some notes where I just couldn't. Like, I literally could not physically. It was not going to be possible. This person was going to be waiting for 5 days or something like that. But I've written 99.999% of notes they've gotten out. And it's just like that personal connection. Like, I want you to know that, and not like shopping from big brands is not important, or shopping from established brands, but I want you to know the connection, like the story behind the brand as well, and the person behind the brand, and, you know, the soul behind the brand. Like, you know, and just know that you're really appreciated. Like, that is something that is super critical. And I don't know how long I'm going to keep it up, because, you know, like I said, like, I've written thousands and thousands and thousands of notes at this point. And, you know, everyone tells me it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. I get it. Like, I remember during the holidays, I was writing 100 notes a day. Like, it was like, my hands were shaking, right? I was just like, but I was like, I got it. At one point, I was just like doing really fast notes, but I was just like, I got to connect with this person, because it's going to a human being, right? And I want them to know that there's a human being behind this as well, right? So I don't know how long I'm going to keep it up. My friends are like, you're going to get to a point and people are going to be like, she's not writing those notes anymore because she thinks she's bigger now. I'm like, I hope not. I hope they know that that's not the case. I will always find a way to personalize things, like, even when I'm not physically able, because I know it's not sustaendwriting as we're growing, and we've grown a lot, you know. So when, you know, we only had like 100 something orders, 1,000 orders, you know, handwriting the notes was great. You know, it was like, okay, but now it's like, I can't keep up. But I'm still keeping up though.
Yes. I mean, it's a blessing.
Yeah, it's a blessing.
One of the things that, just as we've gotten to know each other over the years, I truly embrace and love about you is just your sense of, like, just your give back is what it is. I don't know if that's the best adjective, but you're a giving person, and you can see that, right? And you're truthful. It's I feel like I'm such at a loss for words right now, but I feel like when we interact, there is this sense of warmth and comfort. I know we encourage each other, and it's something that I feel like people miss a lot. They're just so quick to, I'll speak on from a social platform, they're so quick to like, commenting something, whether it's good or bad, but they don't get to take the time to actually know the person. I'm a people person, and I am very cognizant of relationships. And I feel like even when I didn't know you, it was still, I'm still going to reach out and say something. And I was like, I hope she didn't think this is weird.
No. And I appreciated that so much.
Yeah.
I really did. No, I love that you said that, because I don't take credit for that. That's influenced by my mom. And I'll talk about her in a second and all the things that she is influenced in my life, which is mostly everything. I just really value human beings. Like, I value the human experience. I think social media is amazing in terms of connecting us to the world and connecting us to things and possibilities. But it has also impacted human relationships where people feel like we're disposable in a way. Like, because there's so many people, like, so it's like, if it don't work out with this person, I'm moving to the next person. Like, it's just like, even like dating, it's like swipe, like, it's just like people feel like people are disposable, and that's not it. Like, I value relationships. Like, I know a lot of people. I've been, through, whether it's my work or, organizations I've been a part of, but I really, really value depth in my friendships and, just the people I know and connect with. And I really take time. I like to feel like I take time to invest in people and invest in relationships. And I don't want people to see me as disposable or discardable. So I don't treat people that way. And so when you reached out to me and you invested in me, I was just like, it makes me feel like it's still happening. Like, it's not, the tide is not completely shifted, because that's how I like to invest in people as well. So, I try as best as possible to make everyone that interacts with me feel good. You're not always going to be successful at that, and that's okay. Like, but to the best of my ability, if I can help it, I will try. Like, I want you to feel like you had a positive experience, not just with me, but in life, So if somebody's having a bad day, or, what can I do to, like, just do one small thing to impact their day? It's not going to change their life, but, I remember I was at Sephora the other day, and I held the door open for this woman, and she had a hoodie on, and unbeknownst to me, she had just gone through chemo, and she had her hair is falling out and all this thing. I just held the door open for her, and she complimented something I was wearing, and I complimented her back or whatever. And she's like, "Can I talk to you for a second?" And then she started crying. And she's like, "That's the nicest thing anyone has done for me." And so I was just like, what did I do? All I did was hold the door and just like paid her honest compliment. And it, moments like that just lets me know, like, we're not stopping to really acknowledging people as much as, maybe I wasn't in the past, but, maybe they used to do in the past before social media and, and I just try to find ways, like, again, I'm not saying I'm going to change anyone's life by,
but
kind gestures sometimes, but it's just like, it just feels natural to do something nice. Like,
I know.
It's like the most natural thing. I'm like, why are we not doing it? When I see people on social media and the first reaction is, I'm just like, how is that your first thing to do? Like, everyone's stimuli is different, so I can't speak on it. But, I just try to find ways to impact people to the most positive extent that I can, if I can. Again, you're not always going to get it right, because you're probably a villain in somebody's story that you don't even know about, right? But to the best of my ability, I can. And I thank you for doing that for me as well, because that was just super special. Like, again, I was like, well, I need to create really amazing products, right? And that's what people care about. But I didn't realize how much people were going to also care about me in the process. And so thank you.
Absolutely. You're welcome. Hey, it's your Bold Moves bestie, and I'm here to help you unlock your business potential. We're offering VIP strategy days. We are able to come through, help with the strategy, systems, and framework in your business to build processes to give you that firm foundation to get you from shift to scale. So if If you're interested, go visit shebuiltsuccess.com and sign up so that we can get started on moving boldly forward together.